washing your hands. So is COVID one of the toilet diseases, if you don't know. So is diarrhea diseases. So is even diseases to the eye, because most of the time we even rub our eyes like this. Yes. Mm-hmm. So it was a good day because, one, we are having floods. We are going to have toilet diseases.
It's true.
Cholera is on its way.
Mm-hmm.
And we are going to have very bad malaria coming very soon. And bilharzia, because of floods and growth of bilharzia worm from snails. Many other diseases will set in. So being a toilet day, I expected, trust me, we have two very important people in this nation, the president and the deputy. I expected they would talk about the floods. Being a toilet day, they will talk about the flood, the mitigations they are doing, and how it will prevent the so-called, now let me call them, allow me, of course in medical field they are called communicable diseases, but allow me to call them toilet diseases, sanitation diseases. So I expected that to be one of the speeches yesterday. But obviously those people who handle the president, surely they sleep. If I was the handler, surely that would have been a very big topic. Like today is toilet disease. And you have a talk with Kenyans on sanitations and what you're doing in mitigation of floods to prevent the outcome of floods later, because there will be outcomes. But anyway, there were very many important things to talk about. Sometimes I fear Kenya. Secondly, it was International Men's Day. We have two men.
Yes.
Of course, in Azimio we would have had a lady deputy. But Kenya seems they don't need a lady to be on the top echelon of this country. Sorry for them. Countries that have had women president, they have done very well. Women don't steal as much as men. With all honesty, men steal to finish. A woman will steal to feed their kids. If a woman picks something from a supermarket, tell you the truth, the home is bad. Anyway, I was expecting a man to even say, Happy International Men's Day. We are men. And talk of what a man is in a society. Yeah. Other than being a father, what a man is, a provider. What attributes a man in a society. And what happens if we lose one man in a society? How does it affect a society? It's a positive way of showing the importance of humanity. Then comes the time for women. We give the attributes, the importance of women. But you find Women's Day is almost celebrated harshly. I will say harshly because it's painstakingly. If you don't do that to your girlfriend or your wife,
you're in doom.
You're in doom.
Jana tulikuwa tunangoja hapa tupatiwe hata maua, lakini wapi?
Yeah, we are in doom. You even find workplaces they have put Happy Women's Day.
Flowers on the
yes. Yeah. But what happens when men are celebrating? Nothing.
Absolutely.
Yeah? Nothing.
Absolutely.
I'm actually happy for Mary to have remembered myself. Let me say myself.
Let me say I got nothing.
You got nothing.
Actually, no, one man. I've just remember now. One.
And you see, it's someone who thought of you nicely. And but what happens with the top echelon of our country? These are issues we need to celebrate because we celebrate humanity on earth. But my pain goes to World Toilet Day. It just went as if nothing happened. But that would have been a very good time to talk about the health of our nation.
Yes.
To talk about, of course, I heard the president talk about that we are going to have next year, we are going to have free medical or whatever treatment in the whole nation. I want to say it's wrong. It will not work. One, and allow me to say I dislike it because of 5 fundamental reasons. One, who is going to be taking care of our money? Because it's going to be a fund where we're going to give our money. NHIF is going.
Yeah.
So have we structured who is our CEO? Have you thought of that? Maybe not. We asked about Hustler Fund, that there should have been a board to take care of the money. They should have a CEO. They should tell us the monies that went in, monies that came out. We made noise on set here. Even today, Hustler Fund, the CEO is not there. Hustler Fund runs against the law of our Kenya. Because if it is truly not, it's not a money, sorry to use this word, a money laundering thing, then we should have a structured way, but it's not there. So where is the management of this fund? And my other request would be, if the regulator is not there, so how will we manage the funds? To who will we request questions to? Because question you take to NHIF, this one will take where? Then two, we are requesting that this fund should be under the Commission of Revenue Authority. Then, where monies that go to the counties come from the Revenue Authority, Commission of Revenue Authority. Okay? That disperses money to county. Because this structure 1, 2, 3, level 1, 2, 3 is managed by the county. Okay? So, who will be giving the county the money? The way the counties get their money from Commission of Revenue Authority, then they should get their money from that. But you see, this money is taken to the social health authority. How do you handle social health authority handling county money? That money is supposed to go to the county, again goes to the social health authority, other than Commission of Revenue Authority. Is that not a way of meandering some things around? So, and then who is the claim management? Who is be the claimant? It is social health insurance scheme. So who is the insurer? Who are they? So who are the guys going to have the claim? Okay? The other question is, you are telling people who are juakali workers, artisan, mamambogas, to pay upfront. Unalipa pesa before, because me and you, brother, in Lookuptv, Lookup will be cutting your salary as agreed, because it's already passed, to take to the exchequer. But the Juakali guys will have to pay upfront. Okay? And if they don't pay upfront, the day they are paying, they have to accrue 2% again of charge. The question is, how many will afford that? Upfront. NHIA triples, so they are paying 5,000 and something plus 3,500 goes to 8,500 times 12. That's basically 102,000 years, 102,000 Kenya shillings. The question is, they were getting this standard NHIF where you can be covered with your family. So are they covered? Where is their health going to? Where is it being taken? Are they going to be covered for all of them to their family? It's going to be impossible. So before things are rushed, people need to sit down. Let's not rush this thing. We need to get the manager of our funds. We need to know the structure of our funds up to the grassroots, then roll out. Right now, it's no who is going to structure. And you see, all these things are going to start working in January. Even these amendment bills from the 1st of January.
That they're going to kick in.
They're going to kick in.
Yes.
And everything is supposed to be negotiated, talked within us and within the social structure of our Kenyans.
Yes.
Up to the 10th of December. Past 10th of December, kula Christmas, tarehe moja, anza kulipa hizi viti. So Kenya should know that everything that had been said, all those taxes and all those reducible whatever will start working in January. So if you don't make noise now, make something stop now, in January you're going to find another load. And remember, school fee is facing you. So as much as we are talking, why are parents going to pay fee? The president has not made me understand what he's doing right and Uhuru was doing wrong. Uhuru was giving us secondary school management fee. He was managing the fee. We are in CBC, bro. Kids are going to secondary school at class 6, which we call junior secondary. Do you know there are kids that will finish school at class 5? I'd rather go to KCPE where kids would finish school at class 8. But you see, Uhuru made sure we had 100% transition. Yeah. Now we'll not have 100% transition to junior secondary. So some people will leave school at class 5. Have we made Kenya better or worse? Why do you return school fee? Are we okay?
It's a good thing. It's a good introduction. Let's then begin the deeper conversation this morning. I mean, your president has been speaking. He's spoken a lot this weekend. So this weekend, which is essentially yesterday, he again revealed he's jetting out of the country. We're going to talk about that. We're going to see exactly what it is that we're getting from his latest visit to Germany and France for 2 days. But for now, let's open into whatever he's been speaking about this weekend. Let's take a look at this particular story. Once we come back, talk about it, and then officially table the conversation this morning.
Tumeweka mpango kamili ya vile tutabadilisha taifa letu la Kenya.
As millions of Kenyans continue to decry the tough economic times amid the rise in the cost of common commodities, President William RUTO now says is a demonstration as a concrete plan to strengthen Kenya's economy by reducing large debts which have continued to sink the economy, citing that 8 countries in Africa have already failed to manage their accumulating debts.
Nimesema kazi yangu ya kwanza ni kudhibiti uchumi wa taifa letu la Kenya. Kwa sababu nchi hii ilikuwa inaendelea kuteleza kuelekea mahali ambapo madeni ingetuzamisha mpaka tupelekwe pale watu wenye wameshindwa madeni kulipa wanapelekwa kwa mnada, pigiwe kengele. Ni mnanielewa? Nikiongea na nyinyi sasa hivi, nchi karibu 8 katika bara la Afrika hii, ya mwisho ilikuwa last week, nchi moja last week, sitaki kutaja majina, walifika hapo kwa shimo kwamba sasa wameshindwa kulipa mambo yao.
With former Prime Minister Raila Odinga in the recent days slamming the government over the government-to-government fuel deal, the head of state has called on opposition to provide concrete evidence to substantiate their claims, insisting that the deal signed with the United Arab Emirates and Saudi Arabia has improved the situation, with neighboring countries seeking the same plan.
Hiyo transaction tumefanya imesort out mambo matatu. Ya kwanza, imesort out matatizo ya supply. Sasa hakuna petrol station yenye haina mafuta, number 1. Number 2, imesort out problem ya madola. Walikuwa wanahangaika kampuni kutafuta dola kutoka benki hii ati benki hii ati benki ile, kwa sababu hakukuwa na mpango ya sawasawa. Serikali ya Kenya tumefanya MOU ya kuhakikisha ya kwamba tunaweza kununua mafuta, kampuni zetu ziweze kununua kwa pesa ya Kenya badala ya kutafuta madola. Today, all oil marketing companies in Kenya they buy fuel, they buy petroleum products in Kenya shillings. Na jambo la tatu ni kwamba ile transaction tumefanya na Saudia na UAE, leo watu ya Uganda, watu ya Tanzania, watu wa Rwanda ndio wanaenda kutafuta ile sisi tayari tuko naye.
In an effort to raise the country's economy, the president acknowledged receiving 110 billion Kenyan shillings last week from donors, adding that the Zweki will also receive more funds in a bid to turn around the country's economic situation.
Mumeona juzi, last week, tumepata pesa karibu bilioni 110 kwa sababu ya vile nimepanga mambo ya uchumi. Wiki hii, kwa mapenzi ya Mungu, kuanzia kesho, mutaona tena vile tutapata pesa ingine kutoka marafiki na waegezaji ambao sasa wameamini.
John Matava, Lookuptv.
That's it. Just a snapshot of some of the issues that the president has been explaining in terms of where the economy is. We'll continue to also look at other things that he did mention, and I'm going to tell you some of them. It's been speaking a lot. One of the things that have really caught the eye of majority of Kenyans is when he said that my mission is not to be re-elected. It's clear now that your president doesn't essentially care about re-election. His bigger mission is not to be re-elected. We're going to probe into exactly what that means. Also, he's also promising you that all Kenyans now shall be treated for free as from January next year. That's January 2024. Good. And I'm going to read for you another promise as well that is made this weekend as well, that indeed 3,000 to 5,000 Kenyans will be leaving the country each week, all right, to be exported off to other countries so they can make money for the country. Ragalo, we failed to do the math. I'm just gonna do the math real quick. I'm looking for my calculator here this morning, and it's a good thing that Mungai is here so they can jump into that conversation as well. I do not know what 3,500. Actually, put it at 5,000.
I'm also opening my calculator.
Yeah? Put it at 5,000.
My calculator.
Yes.
Okay.
5,000 times.
Let me put it. Let's put an average. 3,000.
500
and 5,000. So mid is 4.
This 4.
So let's put at 4,000. So if we had 4,000 people per week, that takes it to 16,000 a month. 16,000 a month in 12 months is 192,000 a year. In 9 years, because 1 year is gone, we are at 1.
Put it at 5. He doesn't want to be re-elected. He said it is not seeking re-election.
Okay, if he's not seeking re-election,
his main mission is not to seek re-election.
Let's say he didn't mean it.
Okay.
So let's put 9 years.
9 years he didn't mean it.
Because definitely he will want to be re-elected, trust me. So we are doing 1.7 to 8 million people in 9 years. Assuming that 20% of these people have spouses. So what is the 20% of that? Around 100 and something. So we are talking about there are couples around 345,600 couples. Not adding that they have also children. And we are assuming they have kids because some of them will want permanent residency and kids to Yes. So we are assuming that we will have 22 million people in 9 years. And these are skilled workers.
Yes.
Because surely not many people go doing gardening or housewife jobs. These are from health caregivers, nurses, doctors, engineers, lawyers. These are skilled workers. So basically, in 10 years, Kenyan growth, we are now at 15 million. Let's put at 10 years, we'll be at 60 million. So minus 22. So basically, we'll be at 40 million. So we'll have exported 22 million workers out of the country. We'll remain with 40 million workers then. And still, export will still be continuing. My pain is when RUTO went to campaign in 2022, basically 2021 towards 2022, or rather 2022, he promised to provide 4 million jobs
annually. Yes, sir.
He promised that he'll ensure 5 investment companies join the bourse forex exchange.
Does it?
5 per year, meaning they will be doing so well that they will be able to join the bourse. We have 1,000 and something companies that have lost and left the bourse, translating to, I'm saying 1,000 plus, translating to over 100 billion Kenya shillings. The pain is, that means jobs are lost. No jobs are being made. So we've stopped translating Kenya into a production company to an export of human company. Human export. Brain drain. That's basically what we are saying. We train you. We use so much money to train people in this country, then give them away. You understand? Give them away. So that is what we've become. Then my president again says that right now we are doing well with the dollars, more than even the other countries around us. What did he go to do in Tanzania last year? Why was he going to borrow money from Tanzania, the dollars? And even the Tanzania were cheating us, saying, walikuja hapa kutuomba pesa, si tukawaambia hatuna, hata kama tulikuwa nayo. You can imagine Suluhu saying that. How painful it was ukifanywa kachiding. Unaona kuenjoyiwa. Kuna ile kuenjoyiwa ya kuparara. Mtu anakuambia hujaoga, umeparara. Na hata kwa ulikuwa umeoga. You know hiyo ni kuenjoyiwa mbaya. That's what we are being told anyway. So right now, how much was the Kenya reserve? We have lost over 100 billion of reserve. We are not there. If we are there, then the shilling will not be losing to the dollar. Why is the shilling losing to the dollar? Because of our reserves are low.
That's it.
So, and that's why we are being exported, so that we bring the dollar. Other than doing other investments that bring the dollar, what are we doing with tourism that will enhance people coming to Kenya? Other than telling Kenyans to come back home and making tourists to come to Kenya, we are in the airport with the busy. That python you are going to see in the museum, that python, I've seen it. Who has never seen a lion to go and see a dried lion in museum? You know, some of these things, you make them simple and easier for people so that people can go and use more money. That's how? Make it cheap. That lady selling soda will sell crates of soda. Those scones that are sold at an orphanage, zitaisha zote. We will turn the road. You know, you don't have to hurt us more to make more money. The Laffer curve says, and that is economics, the more you put burden on people, the less production it will be.
Yes.
Don't think that when you put burden, you'll get more production. And that's why we normally say, punda amechoka, because punda do beba mizigo. Then my president says we are going to be treated for free, which I've handled. Surely there is no treatment for free.
Bragalo, I'll be coming back to you. Let me bring Mr. Mugai into the conversation. Mugai, how are you doing, sir?
I'm doing well. Good morning.
Good morning. We're just talking about how yesterday was International Men's Day. Hopefully you got 1 or 2 messages.
Well, you know, one of the most interesting things about Men's Day is that somehow our women and the women out there still find a way of making it about themselves.
Sure.
So I think man generally is an endangered species,
isn't it?
I complained about it.
And I feel sometimes we need some level of We did not get the pomp. You know, even in church when it's Women's Day,
Yes.
I hear the pastor is very vocal
That's
about
it,
celebrating women.
Balloons on the entrance.
Yesterday when I went to church and we meet as men is when one of us said, "Hiya, you know today is Men's Day. Say Happy Men's Day," and that was it. I think we need to celebrate our men more. But one good morning to our viewers. It's not usual for me to be late, but I think there is some level of optimism in the market. There is a lot of traffic jam despite the fuel prices going high. And I believe this is a sign of good times.
Yes.
And we've also been blessed with rain, albeit for the fact that it is heavier than usual. But wading into the discussion,
I don't know whether I could put you spot on the response that I want you to have on this. We're looking at some of the promises that the president still keeps on giving Kenyans. This is what he's saying, that as from the 1st of Jan 2024, every other Kenyan is going to receive free treatment in all the public hospitals in this country. That's what he's saying. Number two, he also says that his mission is not to be re-elected. He's completely locked himself out of that conversation, that his mission is to fix this economy. Now, there's a statement here that I also want you to wade in. That's exactly what he said. He said that, well, Kenya is going to start exporting 3,000 to 5,000 Kenyans out of the country weekly, all right? So they can actually get to capture these jobs that is jetting across the globe, negotiating for. Let me just put you up to speed on the latest development on some of the deals that the president has gotten into. Now, we do know that Kuwait has rejected 3,500 Kenyans after the president negotiated for a jobs deal with those countries. Question being, they failed exams. I want to also point you out to another deal that we also did see failing, the nursing deal to the UK, where majority of them as well did not see the light of the day because those are competitive jobs for the rest of the international market. No matter how they're framed, Mungai, it's for the international market. While majority of Kenyans did not get those nursing jobs again because they failed an English test. Could you put into perspective? Somebody said, can you not promise, please? Can we see these things happen? Because majority of us are not feeling it. Case in point again, Mungai, over this weekend as well, he did ask Kenyan citizens about how much a 2 kg packet of unga cost. And Kenyans blatantly told him, no, it is not what you're saying. We needed to get there. That we are on a conversation on how the economy is changing. But on the ground, like they say, things are quite different. Mungai.
Thank you, Simba. One is let's start with the issue of employment, especially employment to areas outside the jurisdiction of Kenya.
Yes.
And I must say, it is always easy to criticize, and it is always easy to see what government is not doing right. But let us put it into context. The truth is, as we speak today, if a politician calls a rally in any part of the country, even on a weekday, they are guaranteed to get throngs of people attending those rallies.
Yes.
And the issue of unemployment is actually a major concern, and not just to the Kenyan economy, but also to East Africa. In fact, I tell you something. If you look at our counterparts like DRC, Tanzania and Uganda, over 70% of their land is arable. That means that our counterparts can actually engage in agriculture across their entire country. Only small portions of their country are not arable as compared to Kenya. And therefore, any government, not just this one, even successful governments or previous governments have grappled with the issue of unemployment. In September, there is a cabinet, there were negotiations with Germany. The head of immigration in Germany was here in September. I think it's called Joachim or something. And it is what has culminated into RUTO, the president leaving the country last evening to Germany. But sometimes as Kenyans, we like complaining or we like shooting ourselves in the foot. But let me give it to you as it is. One, our greatest strength as a country is human resource. Now, you might be aware, or Kenyans might not be aware, that some of the top executives of international companies in Africa are Kenyans. In fact, the global bodies that are situated either in Somalia or in whichever, when we talk about the UN, you go and do a study and you will find that a majority of the Africans employed in these institutions
Yes.
are actually Kenyan. Okay? And that is why you see a body like UN have their headquarters in Kenya. Because we have the requisite, in fact, the other day I was discussing with someone and they were telling me they used to work in an international, one of these international bottling companies. And that time they used to be based in South Africa. And at top-notch, top management level was Kenyans. Then they moved to Ethiopia. Again, he found out that a majority of them were Kenyans. And what does this mean? It means that even as we critique what the president is doing, we must be cognizant that we have a resource, we have a valuable resource in human capacity that we can offer to other countries. Now, if you look at a country like Philippines, they export a majority of their people, albeit in terms of semi-skilled or the ones that are not skilled at all. They export to many of these countries. If you go to countries like the UAE, Dubai, and the rest,
yes,
you'll find that a majority of them are Philippines. But the question that we need to ask ourselves as Kenyans is this: what caliber of human resource are we exporting to other countries? And why is this important? It is important because, you know, foreigners or other people treat you based on your entry level. Now, if we are exporting a majority of our people as house girls, then you know when an American sees you, when you say you're Kenyan, they simply see a house girl. But if we are exporting, you know, skilled accountants, then everyone knows that when you want the best accountants, your first call of action is a country called Kenya. If you need human resource officers, then you better tap into a country called Kenya. And therefore, what I would even urge the Ministry of Labor is not just to look at, is to have a strategy of the caliber of jobs that we export out of this country.
Yes.
So that even other countries view us as credible people and as a credible form of resource, yes, when we go to their country.
Does that?
Now, I know there is a lot of hulabaloo on you know, last time the Foreign Affairs Ministry said we had a deal with Canada, then Canada jumped ship, then we went to Kuwait. I mean, so long as it comes to bilateral issues, there will always be teething problems in terms of alignment, which is okay.
Yes.
No, you've asked me 3 questions. I don't worry, Ragalo. Okay. So I'm coming to the second question now.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And what you asked me is the issue of the president saying that he's not seeking for re-election or whatever that means. And I saw yesterday, you know, we have been having orphans in the country for a long time since the former president went into hiding. And I could see the orphans yesterday came out to celebrate when their perceived father emerged. And it is peculiar that he emerged when we are setting up a state capture commission. I think that must have beat him where it hurts, and therefore he came out of the woodworks.
Yes.
But be that as it may, is to say this, that the president's remarks on the issue of him not seeking re-election is to say that he is focused and he has a purpose to salvage Kenya from the economic woes that we have found ourselves in.
Yes.
Now, why that is important is because sometimes when you make adjustments, you're likely to be politically unpopular. Okay? And he's therefore saying, look, my interest is not re-election. My interest today is to make sure that Ragalo's life is much better than I found it.
Does that? Pretty much. But just before, Ragalo, just before you come in, I just want you to clarify on an issue here that majority of Kenyans are asking these questions, Eric. It's not about the promises that we're getting. It's about the practicality of these promises. That's where we are. And Ragalo and I were doing some math before we came in. And Ragalo, I've just gone in and essentially removed what might be attached to the promise that the president is making and said, maybe let's take an individual. Let's close our eyes on the family. Chances of him leaving the family from the country and going to these places where we negotiate these jobs. Mungai, let me bring to your note that even if we're taking the absolute figures, if it's 3,500, but we're taking the lower number in this, 3,500 in a year of weekly migrations from the country, we're going to talk about 728,000 Kenyans who are leaving the country. Multiply that by a figure of 4 years, you will see exactly where we are. I mean, it is 728,000, in 4 years, okay? Now, multiply that probably in 2 terms if the promises are still going to be coming, because we take it as a statement that is backed up by state missions, and that's why it's traveling. Then we're talking about 728,000. But Ragalo went ahead to show you that if indeed they're living and they get to live probably with their families or their kids, right? Because you've got to think about that as well, then you're talking about a larger figure from this country. The president came in and said, I'm going to create 4 million jobs annually right here in this country. Right here in this country. Why now has this conversation turned from creating these jobs here to exporting labor? Are we saying that this country is not ripe for job creation? Because the conversation of job creation locally is not a thing that is getting stressed upon by the president. And the deputy president, by the way. Should I remind you as well, Mr. Mungai, that DP Gashagwa went to Kenyatta University when they were doing their graduation. JKUAT, sorry. And he rightly told them, huku hakuna makazi. Mukipata kakitu huko nje, toroka. And that's what we're saying, isn't it, Mr. Mungai?
Yes, I've done your math very quickly.
Yes.
And I've done the math you've been doing with Ragalo.
Naza.
And this is concerning exporting 700,000 Kenyans,
Naza.
say, per year.
Yes.
Or you said 740,000.
728,000.
And 28,000.
Yes.
Do you know what percent that is in terms vis-a-vis the normal Kenyan population? It's 1.8%.
Let me say something. I'm looking at.
Facts are stubborn. Facts are stubborn.
It's okay. Facts are stubborn. What I'm saying, look, brother, he's talked very well. He said, if we are transporting 3,000 house workers, then people look at us as just house workers. We are looking at skilled workers here.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
And the avalanche at which skilled workers then are going,
That's it.
The percentage that he's talking about, which is 2%, let me now put it to him like 2% of cardiologists leave Kenya.
No, it's not.
I'm just giving, no, we are talking skilled. No, we are talking skilled. He said 2%.
Yes.
So who will take care of people's heart?
Is that
I'm just giving skilled. Now,
Yes.
look at, let me live there. Go to nursing.
Yes.
We have specialized nurses. Renal, cardio, ophthalmo. We have specialized nurses.
Does it?
They go.
But Ragalo,
Who will, you know, we are looking,
on that point alone,
Yes.
do you agree with me that there are nurses and doctors today who've not been absorbed into the job market?
what I'm trying to
No, do you agree with
Yes.
me
Yes.
that there are nurses and
Yes.
doctors, as we speak now,
Yes.
who have not
Mr.
been
Mungai.
Yes,
absorbed?
Mr.
that
Mungai.
is why I'm
Yes,
saying,
proceed.
yes,
Proceed
let me
now.
proceed.
Yes.
No, he's telling me to proceed.
Yes,
Why?
proceed now.
Why? RUTO said
Yes.
he's going to provide 4 million jobs.
Annually, yes.
They have not been employed because the 4 million jobs have not been provided for. Reason why? RUTO is now taking the jobs of a diplomat. What is the function of Kenyan ambassador to Germany? These are his jobs. It should be very silent that there is a job opening in Germany, people are leaving. It has been happening. Do you know these things are not magic? Right now we tunatangaza tu tumeenda kutafuta kazi Germany. Do you know 10 years ago people are still going to Germany? He knows. Ni ukweli.
Yeah, it's true.
And how are they happening? The diplomats were doing it.
Does it?
Do you know people have been going to UK? The nurses have been going to UK. But do you know some countries don't like things being tunasema kulipua vitu. So some of these nurses unasikia ati walianguka kuanguka. They just wanted a way of kumaliza your story. But do you know still nurses are going to UK? Do you know they are?
Yes.
They are.
Yes.
So kwani sahi wanapita yenye hiyo wakati hawakupita. Do you know people are going to Canada? Do you know people still go to Canada? But the Canadian government don't want it lipuke because there is what you call relations, international relations. If you put like we are taking people from Kenya, Sudanese may feel bad if you're not taking their people. Ugandans may feel bad if you're not taking their people. Because Kenya walilipua, so wao wangeonyesha hatutachukua. But chini ya maji, do you know they are going? That is what happens. Now tumetangaza, people are going to Germany. People have been going to Germany. Now question is, how many have done German language? Do you know you can't just go to Germany if you don't have A1, A2, B1, B2? Depends on the level you're entering Germany with. There are people who enter at B1 language proficiency. There are people who enter with A1 language. Eric here can't even greet in German. Baba Raila, being studied in German, can actually talk German the way I talk Kikuyu. So him is fluent. B1, B2, he's at B2. Very, very fluent. Eric here cannot even say a word. So Eric can't go to Germany until I go back to German school, taught language, pass language. Then for skilled workers, you have to get papers. You have to sit there. There are regulation body exams. So people don't think that, oh, Ruto is going to Germany. We are going to walk into Germany like you're going to Kwenu Siaya. Apana. If you are a nurse, you'll have to sit the German papers. You have to pass. First, you have to do German language. Then, do their certification exam. Pass the certification exam. Then, get a job. You can't just walk. So how long, so we are going to be given jobs in Germany. How long will it take for a skilled worker to enter Germany? My brother here, we should look at this thing critically. It will take another 3 years or 2 years. Before you do German language, then you do the certification, then now you can move.
Yes.
So is it workable? No. Reason? Do you have employment first to facilitate your paperwork? Going to school, German language is around 25,000. That is, look how much it costs to do. So now, do you have the 25,000? You live in Juja, you need transport to Gothe Institute every day. Are you looking at that? Then from there, now you start doing the German papers. Then from there, now you're using around 200 to 300,000. Do you have the money? Are you employed? No. So where are you going to get this money? The thing is, provide us jobs in Kenya. Provide jobs in Kenya.
No. Actually, just to add on that conversation,
yes,
because it is important that we have an objective conversation. No, it's okay. It's haujaongea ukweli lakini pia hujadanganya. But I just want to add something into this conversation. Yes. He has raised something very important on the work of ambassadors. Going to negotiate on our behalf. And I agree with him. For a long time, we've had ambassadorial appointments that are political in nature. So we reward a political rejectee who goes to other countries to just learn how to cut, to cut, not even deals, to cut this cutlery where you use fork and knives, etiquette. That is what they go to do there for most of them. And we have commercial attaches that have nothing to offer this country. Do you know there is a report done by GIZ? GIZ is the equivalent of USAID. GIZ is for Germans.
Yes.
And they have done something on interconnectivity of East Africa, and they are calling it the business of the future. So what they are doing, they are mapping the central, they are calling it something the central corridor of what the Chinese have with the Silk Road. Now they are doing something on the central corridor.
Kenya is not part of it.
Do you know Kenya is not part of the central corridor?
Yes.
So what they are saying is that they are going to use the port of Tanzania. And using the port of Tanzania, they are going to do the trade all the way to Uganda, Burundi,
Rwanda, Zambia,
and it ends at DRC. No, Zambia is marginal. Is marginal.
Actually, Sudan is there.
Yes, but they want to capture East Africa. And now when they get into DRC, they are taking it all the way to
Malawi.
DRC. No, they want to do interconnectivity of DRC because DRC has a problem of connectivity.
Yes.
All the way to their port. They have a port at the point of Atlantic Ocean. So that means you can either bring your goods through the Atlantic or you can bring your goods through the Indian Ocean.
But through Tanzania.
And that does not factor in Kenya.
Kenya is
and the reason why that is important is because our government officers need to realize that we are not living in a vacuum and we can no longer allow ourselves to lose deals that have something to do with the regional market. You remember when we were negotiating for SGR, Uganda pulled out because of a number of reasons. And we lost that line. In fact, the other day, the president went to China to see whether we can have that last link because SGR ended nowhere. It was a true reflection of the railway, the Lunatic Express. This was Lunatic Express 2 that ended in someone's farm and did not manage to go into Uganda. But I don't want to bring local politics into it. What I just want to say is that he has a point to the extent that our ambassadors and our policy makers must wake up from this song of Kenya is the East Africa giant, and they must realize that other countries are plotting and they have something called, the coalition. Do you remember the coalition of the willing?
Just hold on there, gentlemen. I want us to go for a time.
I've never known he's this bright. Today he's talked brightly.
I like the way he said, you're not telling a lie, but people just say so see you all go. Once we come back, then we'll be looking at the other developments, by the way, that have happened this weekend. Guess who's speaking? President Uhuru Kenyatta is speaking, and he's telling the current regime, can you stop talking about the mess that I made? I'm not in the picture, so fix it if you can. That's what Kenyans want to hear. Once we come back, talk about that, plus more other issues, including Churchill Wars. What is that 17 billion shillings oil scandal that we spoke about last week? It's a good thing Mungai and Ragalo are here. Ragalo said something that almost now looks as if it was the truth. Once we come back right here on The Morning Drift.
Kiangazi imedhiri sana katika area hii yetu ya Laikipia. Mara mingi sana katika Laikipia kuna wafugaji na kuna wakulima. Hakuna yule ambaye amesaidika, hata wakulima pia hawajasaidika na wafugaji pia hawajasaidika. Lakini kwa siku ya leo tunasema kwamba RUTO Foundation imetusaidia sana kwa sababu inalisha jamii ambaye hawana nguvu ya kupata lishe mahali moja au nyingine.
Tumekuwa tunalala hoi. Ukweli kabisa. Mimi siamini. Hata mtu mwingine juzi tumeleta hapo usiku akuwa amesimia. Akuwa na siku 3 hajaumwa kitu. Kwa hivyo tunashukuru sana RUTO. Leo watoto wengi ameshiba.
Nashukuru Mungu kwa RUTO Foundation siku ya leo. Maana wamekuja at least manyumba 100 leo na 10 itaweza kunuka kitunguu jioni ya leo. Tulikuwa na njaa, si mchezo, ilikuwa na njaa, si ya ile ya kusema iko njaa.
Ya kwanza tumekuwa na watoto ambao wameshikwa na hata watu wazima na utapia mlo, na pia tukiangalia hii ni area ambayo imejaa watu ambao wana rely na mifugo, na mifugo mingi imeweza kuisha kwa sababu ya kiangazi, na tunashukuru sana the RUTO Foundation kwa msaada wao ambao wameweza. Asanteni sana.
Every time you play Lotto, 25% goes to the RUTO Foundation, which supports our fellow Kenyans through various causes. Thank you for your help. Together, we are changing lives.
Infinity Industrial Park is one of the largest private industrial parks located along Eastern Bypass, Nairobi, which provides modern infrastructure for smooth operations for industries and business enterprises. Infinity Industrial Park offers world-class amenities and facilities with wide roads, a police station, a power substation, fire station, public transport stage, hospital, and shopping mall. In addition, Infinity Industrial Park also offers CCTV cameras, 24-hour private armed security patrol, sewer, water, fiber optic cable, and 3-phase power connection, added to public utility, canteen, and dining areas. Sail on the golden opportunity to invest in Infinity Industrial Park, fully serviced warehouses at a special price of 3,569 Kenyan shillings per square foot. For more inquiries, visit our website infinityindustrialpark.com.
All right. Welcome back to the Morning Rift. My name is Simba Kiage. So there's a man who went to church yesterday, spoke in church and out of church. And we have excerpts of what exactly spoke about. I'm talking about President Uhuru Kenyatta. Let's take a look at that story. Once we come back then, talk about it. His main message, do not blame me. I'm no longer president. Let's take a look.
He is a man whose public appearance is rare ever since the last elections. President Uhuru Kenyatta on Sunday made a public appearance this time round in Mwingi for a church fundraiser event. The former head of state taking the chance to castigate the government for always blaming him for its failed promises.
Tumetishwa, tumeambiwa sijui nini, kila saa mtu akishindwa njia ya kufanya kitu yake. Sijui serikali iliyopita. Sasa kesho yake mtasema hata watoto wakikataa ama mama akikataa kuzaa, najua Uhuru. Sasa mimi sijui, lakini tumezoea tu, tunayasikia inaingia na inapita na tunaendelea. Kama ni namna gani? Tangu ni kuombea amani.
The fourth president also took the time to stress that he is still in azimio, calling on leaders and Kenyans not to allow politics of division.
Lakini nimeshukuru kuona vile viongozi wamekaa pamoja, kwa sababu mimi sifichi kusema ya kwamba pale ambapo mimi nasimamia, mimi najenga watu, mimi ni mwana azimio. Hapa mimi sio mtapeli wa kuruka huku na kuruka huku. Sijui ati leo iko hivi, mimi nilikuwa msimamo wangu, nitakana msimamo wangu, kwa sababu hivyo ndivyo tulifundishwa na wale wazee ambao walifundisha siasa. Kuwa mtu ambaye anaweza kufunika leo na kesho, sio mtu wa kuyumbayumba namna hii, ndio sisi hatuko hapa. We are where we are to stay and we are proud of it, and we are hopeful of a bright future for
The leaders accompanying Uhuru castigated the government for the rising cost of living, saying Kenyans continue to bear the brand of punitive taxes.
Na kazi ya kiongozi sio kujitetea tumbo yake. Kazi ya kiongozi ni kutetea maslahi ya mwananchi wa kawaida. Na pahali ambapo tunakosea ni wakati viongozi wanatetea tumbo zao. Wakati viongozi wanatumia vyeo kujitetea wenyewe.
That's it. That's the President Uhuru Kenyatta right there. They're saying that, I mean, you gotta stop. There's a time that you have to stop looking back. And that's the question that I want to ask Ragalo this morning. Ragalo, I mean, at what point are we going to say that the current UDA government will stop looking back and saying that we're trying to fix the messes of the previous government? Because there's a song that majority of Kenyans, again, today, by the way, tomorrow you hear somebody say that particular statement that Uhuru Kenyatta is saying right there, that I don't want you to say it. At what point, when is it enough to say, I'm now the driver of this bus? And I don't want to talk about Ragallo not filling air on the wheels of this bus.
I have two answers to it. One answer,
yes,
is when Kibaki took over the government, we knew Moi had messed up. Do you need to keep repeating to me that Moi had messed up? And we already know. Why we changed and gave you the authority is because we want you to correct the messes Moi did. So don't keep telling us Moi messed up. So Kibaki gave us free primary education, which Moi didn't have. Kibaki gave us bypass, which Moi didn't have.
Mm-hmm.
Kibaki changed the healthcare system. Ambulances came in, and women were walking into dispensaries and health centers and not giving birth at homes again, which Moi time didn't have. Moi was collecting 200 billion per year from KRA. Kibaki went up to 1 trillion. First year 200, second year 500, all the way to 1 trillion, which Moi didn't have. So he never kept complaining. So if you can learn from that, that's why this group of people, they don't like history. In campaign, they say, don't tell us history. So if you don't want history, then you're going to be doomed. But Eric Ragal will keep telling you history.
Yes.
Don't blame someone. Mbaazi kikosa kumea usingizia jua. Oh, jua ilikuwa kali ndiposa nilishindwa kutoa kichwa yangu nje. Don't keep blaming jua. Find a way you can come out. That's why we do top dressing.
Yes.
So now, there's a new phrase that this group is using. And I think they've been taught to use it. We do not want to live like the previous regime. Sisi hatutaki kuwa kama wale wengine. Wala marafiki watu wengine, unajua wakiwa hatutaki kuwa kama marafiki watu wengine. That is the language. And Kenyans should always get the language when it is being used. There's a language being used.
Yes.
So when Kenyans were asked, why are you taxing us so high? Hatutaki kama watu wale wengine, wacha tulipe tax, ndio tufanye hivi na hivi. Hatutaki kuwa kama watu wale wengine. So ni kutishwa tu. Mbona Kenyans would ask again, why are you overburdening us with the tax? Hatutaki. Why are you borrowing heavily? Hatutaki kuwa kama watu wengine. You saying hatutaki kuwa kama watu wale wengine, walienda wakachukua pesa mingi nje, whereas wewe unachukua mingi lakini hutaki kuwa kama watu wale wengine. So the question is, Uhuru alichukua deni na wewe bado unachukua deni. Difference yako na wale wengine iko wapi? Uhuru is much better. You in the first 1 year you've taken 1.6 trillion. In 10 years you would have taken 16 trillion. If you do 1.6 times 10. Uhuru in 10 years, his debt borrowing was at 6 trillion. 6 point something trillion. So you already 1.6. And now IMF, you are happy telling us IMF ilikupatia 149 billion. What is the difference na wale wengine? But una keep kusema utaki kuwa kama watu wengine. So the issue is,
yes,
just do your work. Stop telling us about Uhuru all the time. Uhuru had his messes and he had his goods. Why don't you tell us, Uhuru alifanya vizuri sana kupatiana leverage in secondary school.
Yes.
Watoto walikuwa wanasoma bure secondary school isipokuwa alikuwa analipa chakula.
Yes.
Na alikuwa amepeana amri kwa chief that mtoto wetu atapatikana nyumbani, mzazi aletwe. Tujue mbona mtoto yuko kwa shule. Utaki kuwa kama wale wengine kwa kurudisha school fee kwa shule. So utaki kuwa kama wale wengine, watoto wetu wasimalize shule. Au class 8 watoto walikuwa wanamalizia class 8 wakati wa kulipa school fee. Walikuwa na shindwa na transition ya form 1. Sasa hii watoto watakuwa namalizia class 5 wakishindwa na transition ya class 6 ama ambayo inaitwa level 6. I just say tulimalizia class, so when I use class understand. Junior secondary. That transition people will not go. Yes. So utaki kuwa kama watu wale wengine by taking us behind to pay fee, someone took us mbele by not paying fee. Utaki kuwa watu kama wale wengine by ensuring the services ya hospitali ni free. hatukatai. But who is going to take care of that money? Where is the board?
Yes.
We're in December.
Yes.
Now, I'm not counting the date today, 20th, because we're already entering December. You've not instituted any board towards that. But now on first, we will be working on the new. So how will we, is it going to be the same way na Hustler Fund? Because if you don't have a board to take care of the health, what is the difference between that and Hustler Fund? Tell me, what's the difference? Because Hustler Fund, we asked for the board.
Yes.
We kept asking. Even right now, I'm still asking, where Hustler Fund board?
Yes, just before I cross over to Mungai this morning, I will point you out to some, maybe to some level, Ragalo, maybe to some level. I'll point you out to the situation at JKIA, which we do know is a sorry state. At this point, when it's raining, we've exposed ourselves to the sorry state of the roofing structure in that particular facility. Is it ever okay to say, well, guys, see, we've never repaired this. This was from the previous regime.
Yes.
Is it ever okay to say
Surely.
that?
That's what, now, of course,
yes.
The terminal was built during the other regime.
Does it?
That's fine. Since you took the regime, has it rained? Of course, we had some rains. We had rains. Even if this one looks heavy, but we had rains.
Yes.
Those short rains. Mm-hmm. But we had rains. Do we have a department of repair, whatever it's called? So you want to tell me a portal on a runway will still say it is the other regime? So it's the other regime that Uhuru left his house, went to JKIA, went to the roof of JKIA, and poked holes on the roof of JKIA, knowing that it is raining, and it started raining, to be blamed. You know, the question is, if it rained, say, yes, it has rained. We're having high rainfall, and our roof has an issue.
Yes.
We are going to repair it. Bear with us. We are sorry. How is it hard to say that? And you know, if you want to stop people from talking, own it very fast. Own it very fast. So that one you don't want to own. You don't want to own that the dollar has messed us up. You're still saying that our reserves are better than our neighbors. Our neighbors are better than us because we can see they are Kenya. Right now, a shilling, the last time I checked, was doing $2.154.
Yes.
Tanzania, the last time I was here, I said 152. It is 154 point something. Tanzania remains at 156. Uganda is 156. If you do the translation to Kenya shillings, do you know us and Tanzania, we are only 1 shilling away, 1 point something shilling away. Then us and Tanzania will be the same par. East Africa, dollar will be the same par. And we still say we are the best economy?
Mungai,
how does that translate?
At what point, but remember, I asked you this question, by the way. At what point are we going to sit back and say, now, those utterances about the previous regime are not something that we're hearing from this government, because even Kenyans are tired of that song of, oh, it's not our mess. We're trying to correct this mess. We're headed into the second year. That's almost halfway through this regime, and Kenyans are still getting told it is not our problem. It is where we found this government. But you have the government now. Wouldn't it make sense for somebody to say, well, this is what we're doing to fix it? Case in point, it took Murkomen to do a presser about JKIA if the first thing that he did say when the cameras went on was that this is not our mess. It's not our mess. This is the mess of the previous regime. We didn't construct this particular facility. Then a day later, that's when he came back to say, I've put in a commission that is essentially going to look into the state of that facility before I move in and try and correct it. What should have come before the other, Mungai?
I must say that always history is important, and history is part of our making. We are who we are because of historical issues that have made us who we are today. And we've given an analogy that's very nice, that when you're driving, the windscreen is bigger than the side mirrors. But occasionally, for you to make a decision to move forward, you need to check what's behind you. And that's an analogy of driving. You may not dwell into what's behind, but it is important once in a while to have a glimpse of where you're coming from and what could be coming before you, so that you get a good indication to overtake and move forward. And why is that important? It is important because yesterday was Sunday, and there is a bit of good history that we need to also learn from biblically. When the children of Israel were oppressed for more than 400 years, they were longing for a day when they would have freedom. Now, when they left Egypt and they got into the desert, and things became a little bit tough, on their way to the promised land, remember, they started complaining and saying, you know, it was better Egypt. For what reasons did they say? We had graves, and we could eat a bit of things here and there. Okay? Why is that history important? It is because heading towards the 2022 elections, there is a reason why Kenyans made the decisions that they made. And the Uhuru that emerged yesterday in Mwingi flooded me with a lot of memories preceding his departure from being president. And what were these memories? It reminded me that it is during Uhuru's tenure, and don't worry, I'm giving this context so that I come to the question that you have asked. It is during Uhuru's tenure that a majority of the shops in Kirinyaga had their goods confiscated and burnt by anti-counterfeit officials. And given that these people had certificate of conformity emanating from KEBS in other jurisdictions, and we had their property touched by government officials. For the first time in the history, the only thing we have ever known a president for in terms of touching were two things. One, touching ivory, which was always done at Nairobi National Park. And secondly, touching guns, which were confiscated from North Rift regions where there are bandits. And for the first time in the history of this country, we saw government officials banning legitimate hard-earned sweat from Kenyans in the name of anti-counterfeit. It is during Uhuru's tenure, you know, sometimes it's good to remind people so that we don't forget and start complaining. Egypt was good, there were graves. It is during Uhuru's tenure that we had KRA say they were going to follow the East Africa protocols and declared that they were no longer going to consolidate goods, and that if you wanted to bring goods into this country, if you wanted to bring spoons, you had to bring a whole container of spoons. And that is when we started even having a shortage of phones, because ordinarily what would happen is that people would consolidate goods, they would put in one container, and so you would import based on your ability and you would grow from there.
Yes.
And why I give that context is because we have now seen Uhuru emerging and saying that this government keeps on blaming him for past woes. Finally, it is during Uhuru's tenure, because of mismanagement of the economy, that we had the IMF come in and dictate that we should increase VAT on fuel, amongst other charges, for Kenya to be able to benefit from loans and what have you. Simply what is playing out in RUTO's regime.
Yes.
So when I see the former president coming out now and saying that we are blaming him, it is not without a reason and it is not without a cause. But then now the question is, should we always complain of what he did, or should we now start moving forward? The correct answer is, we are now moving forward. But the mess that we find ourselves in, you know, Simba, let us be realistic. You spend time digging a 60-foot hole. You spend time. Equally, you must spend time filling up the hole for you to get at the surface level. And so Kenyans must realize that even though things are looking hard and things are looking grim, There must be a level to which we must account for the sins of the past,
Yes.
moving into the future.
Mr. Mungai.
And therefore,
Yes,
you've asked
yes.
like the JKIA issue.
Does that?
It is true. It is the former regime that got a contractor who went and did something shoddy, and they
Yes.
did a shoddy job. That's true. Is that not a fact? But what we are saying is,
Yes.
it is okay. This is the mess we are in, but we have to get out of this mess.
Does that?
But there is no magic, there is no magic wand
Yes.
that will be waved for us to automatically get out of the quagmire that we find ourselves in.
I visited my grandfather when I went on leave. He was talking to me about how I should select the best woman. Should that
And-
time
and
to
take that advice seriously.
Yeah, should that time come to marry? And this is what he told me. He said that one of the things they should look for is that if this woman keeps on bringing the name of the previous lover, about the things they used to do, about the places they went, about how she used to get treated, please run away. It's not working because you are the one now. So she should look at you as the final. You're there to fix her and she's there to fix you. So just tell the Mungai, and this is what he said. And this is what he said. The moment you hear that name once, twice, thrice, run away. Mr. Mungai, you're the one who's telling me to take that advice seriously. So should we take your advice seriously this morning then?
I'll tell you why.
Is it not working with the UDA government?
I'll tell
then?
you why your grandfather is spot on regarding that advice.
Does it? Could you defend
He says
it
that it is your work to fix
That's
the
it.
ills of the past.
That's it.
Now let me tell you something. You know, if you get into this relationship,
Yes.
always subconsciously, there are things that you must perform better than the ex, even though, you see, we all have a past. We all have a past. Even you, as you get into that relationship,
Of course
it is not to say that you don't have a past.
Yes,
You have a past.
you have a past.
But what we are saying
That's it.
is that after we have discussed what might be ailing us from the past,
Yes.
we need to move on. But
Pretty
we must be
much.
careful.
Yes.
We must be careful.
Yes.
If there are red flags emanating from the past, we must deal with them now.
And the first red
For
flag.
it's
and,
not,
and I do
no,
agree
no,
with
no.
you.
Yes,
The red
we
flag.
must always course correct the
That's fine.
relationship.
The red flag
because
here.
past and previous
That's it.
experiences
Yes.
also determine how we handle the current
Mr.
relationship.
Mugai, I do agree with you. I do agree with you, and every other Kenyan
but
would
let
agree
me
with
ask
you.
you. Wait,
Just, don't continue. I'm adding something. Kiage, I'm not refusing what you're saying.
Jose, I also
but
agree.
Kiage is saying when the girlfriend keep telling you about the ex.
About the
But
ex.
what if it is the ex that keeps coming back?
No, but the ex is not coming back.
No,
The ex is
we
not
saw
coming
the
back.
ex yesterday. We saw the ex.
The ex is not coming back.
Listen,
We saw the ex.
The knowledge is already there back in her mind.
That's it.
That I had an ex who was treating me this and this, but this guy is not doing the same. Do you want to tell me this lady should tell him?
No, but what if the ex keep coming to your doorstep?
In a whole
Isn't it your responsibility as a man?
In a whole 1 year, you are walking around the street. Then you bump on the ex twice in a year.
Twice in a year.
Because Uhuru has appeared twice in a year.
No, he keeps appearing.
No, he doesn't. I mean,
keeps appearing.
Mr. Mugai, we've
My friend, there is no way I'm going to entertain a former ex, which we want to deal with.
I mean,
but the ex keeps coming and showing up in the
Mr.
relationship.
Mugai, we do agree
it is
with
not
you.
acceptable.
You know, we do agree with you. There's something that you're running away from. We do agree with you. But why is it that even before you give me what I asked for, even before the ex appears, you're here telling me about this ex? How I used to work, I used to do things the right way. Is that not the first red flag that we should be looking for?
No, let me tell you.
Yes.
As the man I am,
yes.
I will not entertain any ex
yes.
to keep on showing up in my doorstep to remind me that he was once with my wife or with my girlfriend.
When you come to that topic of ex
and
what have you, I want to show you how this government are hallucinating or have illusion of the ex. They keep thinking about the ex. And they're the one who brings back the evil ex, what we are saying, if the ex is really evil. The state capture issue, what are they doing? If not going for the ex. So they don't want ex to appear. I want to give you an example. When they
attacked the ex's son, they wanted the ex not to appear on TV. When they attacked the ex's mom, they wanted the ex to keep quiet, or the mom of the ex to keep quiet. So here now, they are going for state capture. And I want to define state capture. The classical definition of state capture refers to the way formal procedures such as laws and social norms and government bureaucracy are manipulated by government officials, state-backed companies, private companies or private individuals so as to influence state policies and laws in their favor.
The perfect description of an evil ex.
Okay. I'm just putting it right. That is one definition. Then we have another definition. What is capture in politics? Now this is capture in politics. That one was Wikipedia, but this one is now in politics. In politics, regulatory capture, also called agency capture, is a form of corruption of authority that occurs when a political entity, policy maker, or regulator is co-opted to serve the commercial, ideological, or political interest of a minor constituency. Now this is as minor constituency, such as particular geographical area, industry, or profession. That one is in politics.
Check chronism also.
So
check also chronism.
I know what chronism means. I was going to capture. Now the question is, the AN issue, is it a state capture? Or
no, you want us to go there?
No, I'm just asking.
No,
I've just asked. I've just asked.
Please ask Omutata who withdrew 17 billion.
No. I've asked.
Yes.
Is it a state capture?
No, don't ask.
Because if we want to go for state capture, then let ask yourself, the current state captures maybe. Maybe that is not a state capture. Maybe Anne is so wealthy. Maybe Anne owned that money. Wow. Where did the Anne get that money? Then again, if Anne didn't have that money, who is the owner of the money? Or which bank facilitated the LPO that Anne had? Because for you to do business with government, if you win any tender, you need an LPO to service the tender. If today you are told, Kiage, that the government wants seats, these seats that I'm sitting on, such like, you need to win an LPO to come and buy this seat to take to the government. So if Anne won an LPO, she was serving an LPO. Where did she get the money? Could it be another one? So which one is Ishungwa following? And which one is happening? I'm not just understanding how the health sector is going to have insurances, because it's a national insurance, not now a fund, but an insurance. So an insurance surely has to have a company running an insurance. So which company will this be? And which companies have won the tenders for this insurance? When was the tender done for these insurances, that these insurances are going to insure the lower constituency, which is us? And I ask this question, who are the claim managers? Which is the claim management? Who are the ones going to claim money from the government after having secured our insurances when we get sick? Because when you get sick, you're supposed to walk in, you're treated, then the insurance is written, then the insurer is going to claim. So how did they win? Could we be having a state capture? I mean, am I stupid? I'm just thinking deep? Or am I just overthinking?
I think you are.
And then if I'm overthinking, then which state capture are we going for? And which is not doing now? I'm wondering. Eric, help me.
Here's the thing, Eric, just before
I'm just asked helping me.
Yes. Just before you jump in, and I know you're going to respond to that, there's a developing story again that we have to look at in as regards whatever he's talking about, because we do know some top government officials have been mentioned.
I forgot one thing.
Yes.
We lost 147 million in planting bamboo. Who are these guys given this tender? Were the bamboo seedling eaten by birds? Also, birds eat bamboo seedlings.
You know that story, isn't it?
So, and which company won the tender of doing this bamboo? Which state agency gave them this? Was that not state capture? Or was it not politic capture? Or what is it? If state capture is that, now I'm wondering. Because now we are going for state capture. We are wondering when these others are doing state what?
I want us to look at this particular story next, because it's essentially tied to what Ragalo is asking this morning. And we don't know, within Ruto's government now, there are fears that as December approaches as well, there will be reshuffles, and some ministers might actually get to see the door in the government. We've seen a lot of complaints from the Senate and the National House about some comments and conduct of some state officials within the way powerful. There are fears now within the government that indeed the reshuffles are going to come. And it's funny how this particular mood has gone down to fellow citizens. Well, this weekend, the president was in Sotik, and one man did not really get a proper reception at his backyard. Let's look at Churchill Wars this morning, come back and talk about exactly what Ragalo is intimating this morning. You're going to see a video of a man trying to address citizens in the face of the president. In fact, his role was to welcome the president. Let's take a look. All right, now the thing is, we didn't get audio in the studio. I don't know whether you can replay it again. Do we have audio in the studio? We're going to try it again. All right. Throughout the entire of that address,
the question is,
it
is a presidential, a president goes to visit a place.
Yes.
Do you address in mother tongue? Are we not going to listen? Or it was just a tribal thing? Maybe we are not supposed to hear what they are saying.
Some of the questions that we're going to ask you this morning partly is that, I mean, if you're the president and you have your CS right there trying to address
in mother tongue, that's remember, in mother tongue, a CS addressing a nation in mother tongue, because when a president is somewhere, it's a national event.
Pretty much.
So it is a mother tongue event.
Maybe part of the question is that, but number two, the reception that is getting is that wild right there in your presence, and you do know why initially the citizens would react like that, because is that man has been again engulfed allegedly in an oil scandal in the country. Would you see it as the right time for you to tell him, hey man, you see people who do not essentially want you, you're not the right official then to deliver service to them? Would that be it, Mungai?
I watched the clip where the CS Chirchir was allegedly heckled in Bomet.
Yes.
And also I'm going to combine that with the issue of
Mungai, are you going to use the word allegedly in that statement if you watch the clip?
You know, let me tell you where I'm using the word allegedly.
What did you see? What did you hear?
Let me use the word allegedly.
Yes.
It's because he spoke in mother tongue. I do not understand the native Kalenjin language. So I do not know whether those were acclamations of Thanksgiving or they were, I cannot tell whether they were ululations or it was heckling. It's honest, I cannot tell.
At one point,
let me explain, because the president later came on the podium and asked
said,
the people to cool down on behalf of Churchill.
So you would like to delete the word allegedly?
No.
Because the president confirmed to you in a language you understand.
It's because,
yes,
you see, I have a responsibility to the viewer.
Yes.
To give him an informed opinion. And so far,
you've been heckling him.
I cannot substantiate. So with that regard,
so was the president
but
wrong
I will speak
to call it?
No. But I'll speak to what might have transpired,
That's it.
and then I'll combine that with the issue of the looming reshuffle or sacking of some CSS.
Yes.
Chirchir embodies, he's the fall guy in terms of what could go wrong in an economy. He's you see, the way Christians celebrate the death of Christ on the cross, he's the man on the cross as we speak. Why? Because the truth and reality is, preceding this speech by Chirchir, there have been subsequent back and forth in Bomet County, and this is regarding the governor and also regarding Cheral Gay, and also regarding CS Murkomen. And so this comes against a backdrop where several words have been exchanged prior to this event. But even as we say that, when Kenyans look at rising fuel prices, they see Chirchir. And remember, during the bipartisan presentations, it is the CS who went and said that courtesy of the Hamas-Israeli war, prices could go up to 300, and that rubbed, almost including myself, Kenyans the wrong way. Because what I think, there is a sense of responsibility in terms of what the CSs speak to the nation. The CS, some of the CSs have not gotten to the frame of mind to understand that what they say actually impacts positively or negatively on the government of the day. And I think that quote, he was quoting something on Bloomberg. I think that is what he was quoting regarding the fuel prices. But the way it was reported in the local media was that he was intending to increase prices. Now he's going to Mashinani, to a place where that has not been corrected. And therefore that could have led to the issue of heckling and booing him down. But on the issue of the looming reshuffle of CSS,
yes, but
I want us to pick another example.
I don't want to cut you short. I don't want to cut you short. But do you know the president also stood up and said that the only reason he was getting heckled was because he hadn't connected electricity in that area for them?
No, RUTO, the president, is a very, you must like him as a good politician,
yes,
for what he is, because you see, when you're in a political rally, and maybe Ragalo has gone to a political rally, when you read the mood,
yes,
you must always find diffusing mechanisms, because you remember, as a president,
yes,
you don't want to be heckled yourself, because this is your CS.
Yes.
Also, remember, this is your CS.
Fine. Yes.
If you're heckled, both of you,
yes,
then really the media has something worthwhile and tangible to report. And therefore, in his speech, he's a good politician. Let me put it that way.
To what extent are you also going to tie his name appearing in this oil saga that Ragalo is talking about this morning? Because it's been predominantly mentioned in that particular story for Anjoroge. Could that also be a fact?
No, not necessarily. But I'll say this. Omtata came out openly this week.
Yes.
First to claim that during the previous regime, from the consolidated fund, Kenya shillings 16 billion was withdrawn, and a subsequent 17 billion and other sums of money.
Yes.
And the narrative was something to do with fuel. And we are talking about the previous regime. And I think Omtata raises a very valid point, to the extent that Ann Njeri could be a proxy for some people who stole from government coffers, and they were trying to launder and clean the money through oil, because then you have to do volumes.
Does it?
Now, the fact that allegedly the CS has been tied up, and this is CL Chirchir, and I think there is also another CS who has been tied up in that melee, or in that alleged scandal, is to say that I myself, I am not privy, and I do not know as to who ate that money, if at all any money was eaten. And this is to call upon the relevant government agencies,
yes,
to get behind this, because if money was laundered from the consolidated fund, 17 billion, it is money that this government has a responsibility to follow up so that that money is not cleaned using the current G2G government deal. And I think that is very important. But as to whether that is why Chirchir was heckled or not,
yes,
I have said I am not privy really to what transpired in Bomet. But let me speak of the looming reshuffle. And I wanted to bring that into context using one man who's been able to metamorphosize. And this man is the CS Moses Kuria. Because even as you watch media clips, you can see them interchanging clips of Kuria, Chirchir, I think also Bore is part of the clips that keep being interchanged.
As well.
And this is Enmur
Yes.
Komen.
Yes.
And both of them emanate from the National Assembly and from the Senate. But let me speak to this man, Moses Kuria. So initially, he was in the docket of trade. And in the docket of trade,
Yes.
there were looming calls for him to be sacked because of his inability or perceived inability to negotiate terms of trade. And you remember at some point it was alleged that the US government did not want to interact with him to an extent that when the president went with Aden Mohammed to the US, he was introduced as a CS. Now, so that was one area. Then he was moved, within that period, he started going around the country, opening county aggregated industrial parks. Now, when it looked like he was gaining a bit of traction, he was moved and taken now to public service.
Yes.
And part of what was removed, what was added into his docket was what initially Mudavadi had. Now, what happened is that a week or two later, he emerged with NYS, donned in NYS regalia. And in fact, during the tree planting exercise, he's one of the CSS who performed exemplary well because he was able to marshal the NYS to plant an approximate 200,000 trees on that particular day. But then I saw, when was the report by police reforms tabled?
Yes.
It was on Friday.
Does it?
I saw now that the police reforms team is recommending that NYS be expunged from delivery and be taken to the interior docket. So in essence, you can see from that metamorphosis, there is clearly a man who is being cut to size, and whether or not that leads to his sacking, we are yet to see, and we will all be here to see as to whether that happens or not.
Does it?
But the truth is,
Yes.
there are CSS who, in my opinion,
Yes.
have not performed to our expectations.
Yes.
I believe it is time for them to face the axe. I may not know which one. I am not privy to the president's misgivings or givings.
Yes.
But I do know that when that time comes, I believe we have Kenyans who are willing to work on behalf of other Kenyans and who might do the job well.
Pretty much. Ragalo, I'm going to give you time to also respond on that as well. There's an issue also that we have to talk about. I told you there's a lot of notes. The president has been speaking by this since Friday all the way up to now. Let's take him back to Friday. It was in South Sea. And it was remarkably angry at people who we say are telling him exactly how to organize affairs within his government. If my director then, Sheila, if you could take us to the Standard this morning, if I'm not wrong, if you don't get that headline there, we're going to jump swiftly then to the Daily Nation so that we look for that particular headline. You can give us a screenshot of that particular headline so we can actually get to look at it, where the president is saying, well, with a new azimio la umoja demands now, again in the stocks. Now, gentlemen, remember, last week Friday, they were at a retreat to write the final report that was going to be tabled in the National House, just to guide the country on exactly how we're supposed to move forward. But then, at that particular point, azimio ikakuja ikasema, sasa, kwa hiyo report, I know we've not spoken about it, ongeza easy demands. Okay, I don't know, Sheila, if you can give us the screenshot. Yes. We're talking about, that's it, at the front page on your top left. This is what he said, and this actually emanated from his talks all the way from Friday up to this weekend on a fuel. But the president is now saying...
I listened to Raila reading the demands.
Does it?
The azimio demands. Are they not okay? They are honest, true demands.
But that particular statement from the president, that I'd rather those talks fail.
See, they fail. That's what they should even fail now.
What is he saying,
See, they fail.
See, they fail. But we do know the dangers of the talks failing.
Yeah, but as a president,
that's it. But
what is
yes.
what is your function as a president?
You did hear
in Article 1. Who is a president?
Doesn't.
It says it is the president is a what?
That's a.
Is a symbol of
knowing
national unity. So when you tell us, yes, I'd rather have it fail, you've lost the symbol of national unity. You've become the symbol of national disfranchisement. Yes. Then let it fail.
Knowing very well what Mother Karua also said last week, that should these talks fail, we're headed back to the street, isn't it?
That's okay.
That's it.
No, Mother was against going back to the street.
She was against it, but then she said the last resolve would be that.
Yes.
But hold on. Who's responsible here? Is it the Azimio coalition that has now come up with these demands at the report writing stage? Or is the president saying, well, no, I don't care?
But is it new? Is it new? That is always what Azimio does.
Yes.
Before I talk about that,
yes,
I want to talk about the ministers that are supposed to be
face the axe.
Face the axe. Allegedly.
Doesn't.
I would ask that don't remove them. With all wisdom and the brightest of all, they were given jobs. How do you remove them? And
on the basis of failure to deliver?
They have not failed.
You can't say
they
that.
have not failed.
Yes.
If your children fail, the parent has failed.
No, these are not children.
These
are failed CSAs.
They are not children. But you understand what I'm saying.
No, that analogy is not correct.
It is. Mm-hmm. You have a house. You have the mother and the father and children. If your house cannot work proper, then the head has failed.
No, you fire the house help.
But this guy is becoming funny. So the issue is here. If at all Churchill is not working, the presidency is not working. If Bore is not working, the presidency is not working. Mm-hmm. If Moses is not working, the presidency is not working. If the presidency was working, then we should not be seeing people doing jobs for others. You'll find some time a minister is talking about something that is in another minister's docket. It has been happening. So, to me, if this is what is happening, then it is from the head. It's not from the tail. It's an English word. You know where it starts. So, Moses has not done anything wrong. And I will defend Moses Kuria today. The only problem Moses Kuria has was yesterday. He was the first person to rebut on Uhuru Kenyatta. He tweeted back immediately. Yeah. A long story on his tweet, very long. It is all about wanting to secure and save himself. That is the one who can manage Uhuru, so he has to be working so that he can manage Uhuru. You understand? So he forgot the agreement they had with deputy, that nobody, and even the government, nobody should fight Uhuru Kenyatta. And actually for the last months, nobody has been doing anything directly on Uhuru. Right now, Moses came out first. Did he go against the agreement? Yes. So I want to tell Moses, mukikubaliana kitu kule pembeni. My brother Moses told the line. Wacha kuruka. Mulisha kubaliana watu waache kugonga Uhuru. Wewe ulimgonga jana. Ukifutwa kazi, utarudi hapa tutahaso na wewe. Bro, ni nini bana? Mi nataka ukue 2027 juu unaenda kuwa wa Azimio. Relax hapo bana. Tushikie bana. Wacha kuharibu job bro. Tulia. Acha kuharibu job. But namtetea sababu hii. When Moses was in the other department, he did very well. He went to Siaya, Kisumu, Homa Bay, Migori, and apparently Moses could penetrate. The problem that Moses is doing is the same problem former minister and a strong man who died under Kenyatta regime, the Mzee Kenyatta. Mm-hmm. He was called who? The only Mount Kenya person who went to bury Tom Mboya, he was called who?
Is it GM?
JM.
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 Yes.
JM was the only person who could go to Nyanza and nobody would throw a stone.
And when Moi contributes 100,000, he contributes 1 million.
You see, so JM now, Moses is doing the JM game. He's actually the only person who can go to Nyanza and come out walking and actually walk in the street. No other person. So now, is he being looked at with a good eye? No. That's what I'm saying, bro. Save your job. When you went to 2027. Secondly, he did so well to an extent he became too popular. He had to be cut down. NYS should not be in the Ministry of Internal Security. They are not security. These are civilians. They have never become anywhere police. I've never heard where a civilian becomes internal security. These people, they are misused. During maandamano, I saw NYS people carrying ile fimbo yao wanakimbiza watu. When did they become civilian? Then the same NYS tomorrow anasema ni bro nisaidie kupata job. Na nilikuona kwa TV ukipiga watu. Nikutafutia job. They first have to remember wearing that jungle uniform does not make you police.
Yes.
You are a civilian holding a civilian ID. Protect your civilian ID, brother. Protect your civilian ID, sister. Don't be misused.
Yes.
So now, even if they take that docket away from Moses, Moses will still work. So me, if there is a problem, it's from the head. There is no problem down here.
But then, you can't say that there is a problem with the head if...
Organize your team.
That's it.
Period.
And then the best way to do that is just to reshuffle.
You don't reshuffle.
And get...
Sit them down. Organize your team.
Yes, it's already done.
And then don't fukuza watu.
Yes.
Meaning umeshindwa. How do you chase away your children from the house?
I told you, Ragalo, they are not
These are your children.
Yes. These are workers.
They are your children.
These are workers. Yes. The children are the Kenyan people.
Yeah.
Ragalo, for the sake of time, I want to take 2 minutes as well. Jump into the next issue as well of the president saying, well, ISO talks, watch as he failed, but housing levy has to continue.
Let me tell you.
Yes.
Housing levy is not bad to do housing. It's not. We agree. We need housing.
Mm-hmm.
But at for what expense? I said here, there are things that run fast.
Yes.
What is important now? Cost of living. What is important now? Healthcare. What is important now? Education. I've said 3 things alone. Cost of living. How do you ensure everything that brings down cost of living? Ensure education is not affected at any point that a parent should be paying school fee. Ensure people can get health care. Then other things will come. How? Kibaki came in, gave us free education. He came and ensured women could go and give birth to hospitals free of charge. Under 5s were not paying anything. Okay? Under 5. Right now, by the under 5s are starting to pay. They are starting to pay. Go to this Nairobi government, start with Mama Lucy.
Yes.
Go to whichever and check if under 5 are starting to pay. Okay? Ensure healthcare can be managed. Then, when that is done, now roads will just come because the country is healthier and is being educated. All this brain drain we want to do right now, 400,000 people out of the country, is because other governments brought them up. If housing is not important, to me right now, it is important, but not now. And the azimio people, when they were reading their statement, if you read, they said, we can shelve it and go this route first. So what I'm looking at here, what is the function of a president? National unity. National unity tells what? You don't talk back to people. If someone tells you this is not working, ask, why? Why did you say this? You don't come and say, I'd rather, that is now bullish. I'd rather fail than, why are you saying this? So then, let the talk fail. When the talks fail,
yes,
the shilling will be stronger. We'll have a united Kenya, and we are going to 2022 a very strong nation than we had before. And all Kenyans in Kenya will be in houses, albeit not eating, starving, sick, not going to school, but they'll be in houses. Remember, we're having floods.
Yes.
Floods come with communicable diseases, diarrhea, and malaria, bilharzia. Call them water-washed, water-based, water-related diseases. All those three, I mean, there are actually 4, will come to us. Are we prepared? Or we still want to build houses, whereas we should be seeing how to provide nets? We want to build houses, we should be prepared on outcome of water-borne, water-based, water-related diseases.
Yes.
The question
Yes.
is, did the Azimio tell you in a rough way? Was it political?
Yes.
Maybe yes. But was it making sense? Yes.
That it has not been part of the discussion since we got into the talks. It just
You know, I'll tell you, Simba.
It was part of discussion. Remember, it was
Simba,
not.
no.
Remember when we
Yes,
started to talk, 1 second, when we started to talk about cost of living, FKE was brought into the team. They gave their opinion. Before they even went to write reports, many other groups came to give their opinion.
Yes.
Surely, and the opinion of Kenyans was, it is expensive. Even before, even many Kenyans were even going to talk there and tell you it is expensive. How did it not, how was it not part of the report?
Yes.
And everyone talked about it anyway. And you want to tell me, those people who are seated there, they are not listening to Kenyans? So they put their head like this, they talk of other things, but they don't listen to what Kenyans are saying.
I have only a few remarks to say about that.
Actually, take 2 minutes on it because there's only time that we have.
Even less.
I've left for it.
Even less.
Yes.
You know, Azimio in the bipartisan talks is behaving like an insect called in Kiswahili ndumakuili. You do not know whether it bites from the front or from the back. And the only dawa ya dumakuili is to fumigate.
Yes.
We must fumigate the
Thank
bad
you.
politics
Thank
of Azimio.
Mungai, you still have a minute.
Is Mandamano coming back?
Just hold
Maybe,
on,
yes.
just hold on, Ragello. I mean, if indeed then these are the fresh demands for Azimio, and the president is saying that I'd rather the talks fail, is not becoming
But
recognized.
Azimio will always have fresh demands. That's why I'm saying fumigate the bad politics of Azimio. You cannot agree with Azimio. Today, you agree with them on this, and let me tell you also, you know, times are hard. Ragalo has said here, times are hard. And you know, in those bipartisan talks, there is a per diem, and there is a small tokens here and there. It is in their interest to keep the talks prolonged as much as they can, with no particular benefit to ordinary Kenyans.
Not in their particular interest, because you can see their demands are not quite fresh. In fact, they're just guided towards whatever it is they've been calling for. Mungai.
No, is Kalonzo in Azimio?
No,
yes or
yeah.
no?
Yeah.
Is Kalonzo in Azimio?
Yes.
Was Kalonzo part of the bipartisan talks?
Of course, yeah.
Was Kalonzo part of those people receiving the submissions?
Of course, yes.
Weren't they doing a final report?
Mm-hmm.
So where have the demands come from? Why couldn't he table those demands in the bipartisan talks?
But they were there.
Why now?
People talked about them.
Why
We were
now in the
shelving
report
them.
writing? Why
They were there. They were there.
No, I'm asking, Kalonzo was on the table.
Let me tell you.
Kalonzo was on
Brother,
then
even
send
just
Mother
1 second.
Karua.
1 second. Even IMF went to give their report. IMF was there giving their report.
No, if they are uncertain,
let me tell you,
fire Kalonzo.
Kenyans are tired.
Fire Kalonzo,
Kenyans are
put
tired.
Mother Karua or Jeremiah Kioni.
Build houses.
If Kalonzo is not representing you well, fire him.
Build houses to sick people. Build houses to people who are not going to school. Build houses to people in just build houses.
I've given you a solution. You talk to Baba directly, Ragalo. I've given you a solution.
Here's the reality.
Fire Kalonzo.
Gentlemen, those guys actually have less than 2 weeks to table that report, and that retreat last week ended unceremoniously, where the members just walked
After
out.
eating per diem.
The members just walked out upon realizing that the Azimio coalition had fresh demands that they wanted to be included in that particular report. How that goes now, whether they're going to go back to the National House and ask for more time, we're going to see exactly how it goes, because that particular motion, if you do remember, was unanimously supported by members of Parliament when it was tabled. By the way, it was never debated. It was fronted, tabled, voted on it, and then passed. I do not know how the members of Parliament this time around are going to react once this House goes back again and says, well, you see that time that we asked for, and we told you that we didn't need it. In fact, if you do remember what Wanani was saying.
I have told you time and again.
Yeah, we didn't need it. How the House is going to react, I'll call Ragalo and Mungai to actually come and talk about it, because we do know it is now less than 2 weeks for Kenyans to receive that report, because we do know next month the National House is going on recess and they have to go as well. So is it going to be? Once we come back then, right here, guess what? Take them back to the time that they joined us this morning online at Lookuptv across all your social media platforms. My name is Simba Kiage. Goodbye. Tomorrow is another time to do this.